Welcome to another episode of Pass the Barstool. I'm David, here with Phil and Josh Mellor of Neon Raptor. Thank you very much for joining us. Firstly, tell us a bit about yourself and the brewery.
I'm Josh. I kind of we're part of the sales team and the marketing team here at Neon Raptor. For those who don't know, we're based in Nottingham. We've been based here in this wonderful building, Centre Market, for about this is our 4th year, and yeah, we do all sorts of different beers and try and have as much fun as we can.
Talking of beer, have you got a beer on at the moment?
I've not at the moment because I live in Derby. I don't drink and drive, so I'm on the water.
Okay, so you've got Adam's Ale there. That'll do.
Exactly.
I'm on the water too, so it's just Phil that's drinking today.
Okay, I've got a
Rubber Dinghy Rapids,
and I thought I'd make an effort just for you lot.
Nice 8% double IPA for you there.
It is, yeah, excellent. Available on beers.uk, by the way.
There you go.
Another seamless link. Have you guys got enough space there to expand should you need to in the future?
Yeah, good question, actually. We are looking into potentially moving our tap room into a nearby unit. Whether this can happen or not, we're not sure. We're in talks at the moment about getting things nailed out. And then what we're looking at doing is moving our packaging area to where the canning line is, and then adding more tanks into the space we've got. So we would add another 50% capacity is the idea. So that'll bring us to 12 20 vessels. We're looking at kind of seeing what we can do. We've got a huge export market that are interested in buying our stock, and we just haven't had a chance to do that yet and really dig into it. So yeah, we're definitely looking at exporting and growing. We'll just see what we can do.
You're based in Nottingham now, but you started off in Long Eaton, I believe, and then after that in Burton-on-Trent Cuckooing, is that right?
Yes. So yeah, Adam, who kind of started everything off, started off with the Stumble Inn, and then after that stepped up to, I can't remember the brewery.
Black Hole.
There we go, Black Hole Brewery. Yeah, correct.
So what was the impetus behind the move specifically to Nottingham? Were you just looking for venues and Nottingham cropped up, or were you specifically looking at joining the beer scene in Nottingham?
We were specifically looking at joining Nottingham. Part of what I run Suds Soda and own Suds Soda in Derby as well. The little craft beer shop and bar.
Yeah, excellent.
But the scene in Derby isn't quite as, it's just not as big. It's just not there. We looked at a couple of sites in Nottingham, but this was kind of our number one choice. You'd think you've probably both been. I think you've definitely been, Phil.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But yeah, it's a great site. There's loads of different businesses around here that we get on with really well. A lot of different creative things that go on here. So yeah, this was kind of like, number one choice for us to pick. We kind of want to always keep this site as our kind of go-to, headquarters. And if we ever kind of get to a level where we'll grow even further, we potentially would look at a secondary site further out. But yeah, at the moment, this is like perfect for us. We really love the area. So
it's a great little site you've got there as well. I remember when those little all those units opened up in Sneinton Market. They were empty for a long time, and then I don't know what happened, but they all filled up straight away, and now it's a buzzing little scene down there, and I believe there's a waiting list for any units that come up.
It was originally what you had to do was it's built for creative businesses, but anything you created you couldn't then sell from the site. Okay. So say you were a baker, you made a load of bread, and someone came in to buy your bread, you weren't allowed to sell it. You had to sell it somewhere else, and they would have to buy it from them, which is what turned a lot of people off. So it was never about the price. It was just simply, well, if I'm buying something, I want to be able to, buy it from the place you're making it, and I want to be able to. So they relaxed those rules, and suddenly they saw a lot more interest, a lot more people, and yeah, we were one of them. So this is actually the biggest site at Sneinton Market, which I think they were really concerned was going to be stuck being an eyesore in the middle of this, site empty. So they were more than happy to take us on.
Yeah, I've been there. I went to the Nottingham Craft Beer Festival a couple of years ago now. You guys had the Alchemist on. Real good coup for you guys to get that on. I don't know, do you guys actually help with organising the Nottingham Craft Beer Festival, or did it just happen there? And if so, do you know if it's happening this year or not?
We try and get involved as much as we can. It's run by Left Lion, who are also based on the same site. They're also based on Centre Market. I'm not 100% sure what's happening. I've heard a couple of save the dates, but other than that, I think they're still working out what they can do and see what's going to happen.
It's so difficult. I've seen that they've got like Hop City going on in Leeds still, and it just makes you wonder how we can get it going in this situation. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there, and then because you guys at that festival, I always think it was a bit later on in the year, sort of August, September time, if I remember rightly. So maybe I guess you see how things go.
Yeah, I think we'll see. I think it should hopefully be on. We're definitely running our one in Derby, so we run Derby BeerCon, and that will be the 10th and 11th of September. So we're about to announce the tickets and announce everything on for that and the lineup.
Look out for that.
Yeah. So yeah, we do run a festival. We just don't, weirdly enough, don't run the one outside our own doorstep. But they got there before us, and they do a good job with it. So it doesn't make sense for us to kind of, step on their toes too much, but we try and give them suggestions and try and work on things. And we've got a big network of breweries that we are friends with across the world, really. So we do try and link up some of those international breweries that I think they were kind of a bit scared about approaching. That was like, no, Tuol are good friends of ours. Mikkeller is a good friend of ours. Then, Dry and Bitter's great friends of ours. We can try and link up with that. So we'll see what we can do and try and work on. We did that in 2019, late end 2019, to talk about 2020. So hopefully those breweries will come in 21 if they do it. But hey, we'll see what happens.
Can I ask you about it must have been a couple of years ago now, the collaboration with Staggeringly Good.
They do move in herds.
Yeah. Excellent beer. Can you tell me how that collab came around? Did they contact you, or did you contact them?
We'd seen each other and seen how we were both dinosaur enthusiasts, and so it was kind of like, it's just going to have to happen at some point. We're going to have to do this beer. We want to do it. They want to do it. Let's get it done. Yeah, it just got to a point where eventually we just went for it, and we thought, right, we'll contact them. We'll see if they're up for it, and see if they've got some ideas. And they just, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Let's do a beer. Let's go do a beer.
So you contacted them, did you? Because I emailed. I actually know Joe. It's Staggeringly Good. And I suggested it. So, and when I saw the beer come out, I was absolutely gobsmacked. And I thought, was that down to me? If you contacted them, it obviously was.
Still wanting the praise.
You wanted a little bit of praise there. I mean, there was definitely, I think there was a lot of people who'd thrown up the kind of similarities between two dinosaur breweries. But yeah, they actually did all the artwork for that beer. Yeah. So I think they wanted us to do the same beer at their site and recreate it. So hopefully when we can, start moving around and traveling the country again, we'll hopefully do something with Staggeringly Good. In fact, we've invited them to come up to Derby, so they'll be at Derby BeerCon, which we're looking forward to. Because, they don't seem to get the widespread, they don't seem to get across the UK as much. They do a lot of beer from their own tap room,
but they have done a lot of expansion in the last 2 or 3 years, haven't they? With the crowdfunding, and it's nice to see the lads do well. I think you need a return collaboration, mate. Definitely, beers and dinosaurs, and what's not to like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So back from Portsmouth back to Nottingham again. You guys are probably, I would say, the biggest craft brewery in Nottingham, and you are the most local craft brewery to most of the BeerHeadZ pubs, really. Do you guys feel a bit of a responsibility to represent Nottingham in your city?
We try and represent Nottingham as much as we can. We've also got breweries that have been here for, they really concentrate on the local market. So breweries like Black Iris, Liquid Light, Totally Brewed. Totally Brewed, they've owned bars and own bars in Nottingham. Liquid Light, Tom from Liquid Light left Liquid Light to go to, he left Totally Brewed to set up Liquid Light. Black Iris have been around for about 10 years now. So with those breweries in mind, like the scene's pretty strong the way it is. We did a festival in Virginia, in the US, and that was one of the things we said. It was like, where are you from? It was like, the UK. Whereabouts? Nottingham.
Nottingham.
Robin Hood. Oh my God, Robin Hood. I know Robin Hood. Yep, there's a beer.
Yeah.
Next. And so that was it. So yeah, Nottingham's like a great city to kind of link up with. Again, why we picked that over Derby, it was just one of those things.
Derby's a lovely city, but it just seems to have been left behind a little bit in the craft beer scene.
It is, and we try and do as much as we can with Suds Soda there, but yeah, it's not easy. I don't quite know what the deal is with Derby, but it's nice to be straddled over two cities and and operate in both.
Certainly, in the last couple of years, Josh, I think the standard of your beers has escalated, and in my opinion, for what it's worth, you make world-class beers now in in its field, in what you're doing, the juicy Neepers and Dippers and whatever. Was that a conscious decision in your team to go to the next level, or is it just been a gradual evolution?
It's been gradual. So when Adam was still here, we kind of did. He was always pushing things forward. He left during lockdown, and we've hired a new head brewer since then. So everything from July onwards has been with a new head brewer, and they were kind of looking at similar forums and similar same thinking. But we've always tried to push harder. You'll never meet a bigger neon rep critic than ourselves. Yeah. We'll always try and push ourselves harder. In fact, I recently had something where someone was on about Centaur Army and how it was slightly lower carb than they were expecting. And the first thing I thought was, excellent. Let's talk about some of the beers you've had and what we can do. I'm always interested in hearing what other people have drank and what other people have tried, so that if there's elements of those beers we can bring into our own beer, then we will. If there's something that, we don't like to drink our own Kool-Aid. We don't kind of sit here going, right, we know we're good. We know we can do this. Let's just chill out and, in that we're always kind of picking at things a little bit and going, right, this was great, but was there just one extra thing that we missed? And when we get our hazy beers out there, we are very bare in what we've done. It can be very one small thing that can make a hazy beer not taste good. And I've had that from other breweries, and I've even been in Nottingham with one of the guys from Verdant, and he's gone, this is terrible. I'm like, that's your beer. Don't know what to say here, dude. And it's it. Like we're all doing it. We're all kind of going, yeah, this isn't great. We can do better. But there'll be other people going, it's mind blowing. It's great. That's nice, but it's difficult sometimes to actually get some of the criticisms you need back and actually work it out. With our stouts and sours, we've got that buffer of fruit and adjuncts and things like that. And people will always think they're good, but you're relying a lot more on flavorings and fruits and things like that to protect you, and people know what the flavors should be. But with our hazy beers, we're always trying to keep pushing that, because keeping it clean and keeping it fresh hops and all that kind of stuff is really important. So with our hazy stuff, we've definitely keep pushing and pushing and pushing. It's now like 2.5 years we've had our house yeast in place. So we've used the same house yeast for all of our IPAs from now on. And that's kind of allowed things to, we can build upon that. Consciously, we have made an effort to make ourselves better. Yes, that's the answer to the question.
If you're not sort of evolving, you're just going to stagnate. So it's every good brewery should keep an open mind to criticism, and obviously just keep on making things as good as they can constantly. What would you say your favourite beer from you guys has been then? One
of the beers, so with our hazy stuff, what I love is a New England IPA that we're actually bringing back this week. No coincidence, but it's a beer called Telemetric, and it's a New England IPA, hazy, 6.5%. It's with Lotus, and it's slightly sweeter, and I don't know what it is. It's just, super crushable. Like it's just a great New England IPA. I think it's the Lotus hop that just does it. I don't know what, we don't get it in very often. So maybe we should try and get it in more.
I'm not sure if I've tried that hop, to be honest.
That is coming out this week. I love Centre Army. So, the big Imperial Stouts we do. One of the ones I've really enjoyed, because it was an idea that I've taken from Macro Brewery in the US, was Saturday Night's All Right. So there's a beer out there called Natter Days, and it's a lager with lemon flavoring and strawberry flavoring. And I was like, this could be done way better. If it was a session IPA or something like that, but it was actual lemon and actual strawberries, this would be way better. And so when we reopened up in, August 2020, that was one of the first things I was like, let's try and make this beer. I want to make this beer. And so we're turning that into a bit of a series. So the last one we did was a raspberry lemonade IPA, and we're looking at doing other kind of different variations on that. But it's those kind of things that excite me as a drinker, because IPAs are great, but they're kind of, releasing an IPA and an IPA and another IPA and another IPA. It's fine, but how do you differentiate them? And the changes are subtle. But with something like a fruited sour and this kind of stuff, for me, that's where we're kind of excited, and that's when we start really throwing ideas around.
How long do you think the craft scene has got to play out? I know when I first got into the pub scene, 11, nearly 12 years ago now, it was on the crest of that cask real ale wave. And I thought there's a good 5 years in this yet. And 5 years on, I thought there's a good 5 years in this yet. And now that's rolling off, the cask thing, and the craft thing is steamrolling along now. Do you think there's another 5 years in it, another 10 years?
I would hope so. For us, we actually had a recent call with our accountant who kind of hinted that, so basically you want to try and get as much money in as you can and then sell the business. I went, why? Why would we want to do that? I want to kind of, grow with the brewery and get old and fat and drink beer. I don't want to kind of, what's the point in, selling it and going, right, well, I got a nice car. And then he was kind of like, his thing was just do it all again. I was like, why would I do that? Why would we do that? So for me, I'm looking at growing our business steadily, seeing how it can grow and growing as demand increases. I don't think we want to make a massive step to, launch, but I think there's still room for breweries to grow. I think if you're a new brewery entering in the industry right now, that's going to be tough. And I think you're going to have something really big to, make yourself stand out. I think the last brewery for me that really did that was Alpha Delta, where they seemed to appear in 2019. It was kind of like, wow, who are these guys? Like, how are they just, I think they launched with a double IPA and Imperial Stout. They just skipped the pale ales and work it all out. They just came out, full guns blazing. I think for new breweries to come out, I think that's going to become more and more difficult, especially as breweries our size and our age start growing and being able to kind of produce more beer. The supermarket thing will be interesting to see how that kind of works out, and how do older breweries age out and go into supermarkets and, let other younger breweries come up, and, we'll see. But I think I've seen a conscious effort from people, and, especially at Suds Soda, I've seen people who literally said, I've ruined their lives because they can't go back to a normal pub and drink beer. They just can't do it. It has to be now an 8% double IPA or an 11% stout. And you're like, sorry. Yeah.
People do tire of it though, don't they? There's got to be a threshold where people are fed up of the overly hopped.
I agree. And I think from Nottingham and Raptor, that's why we're trying to, look into different things. It's really interesting who we talk to as well. If we talk to people from a couple of years ago with things like Endangered and stouts that we're producing, they would consider us a stout brewery. You talk to other people, they see us as a hazy brewery. I think potentially in the future, you're going to start seeing us as more of a fruited sour, as well as those kind of things. So we're looking at different things. We don't want to kind of be a master of one and then jacket. We also don't want to be a jack of trade and just try and scattergun everything and do everything differently. We're trying to kind of keep things interesting. Like we did a black IPA a couple of weeks ago. We've got an Imperial Stout coming out this week with a New England IPA. In a couple more weeks, we'll have our first ever, I think it's like a fruited smoothie IPA or something like that. We're just trying different things and keep seeing where things are going, so we don't end up stagnating and end up being a one-trick pony. Which that could be a problem in the future if those styles start going out of fashion. But I don't know. I think there's longevity.
Good.
I hope so.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. All I can say, Josh, thank you very much, sir. It's been very, very interesting speaking to you, and thanks for giving up some of your time this evening. Part of the game of the Pass the Barstool is you've got to nominate somebody from the beers.uk supplier roster. So have you got a nomination, please? I
have. I think we've been talking about Neon Raptor and Nottingham long enough, so we should probably hand the stool to Black Iris.
Who shall we speak to there?
Well, I think if you can get in touch with Reggie or Dan, they'll do well there. So yeah.
Okay, Black Iris, Reggie or Dan will be sending you an email in the next couple of days. Josh, awesome. Thanks very much for your time, mate. It's been a pleasure. Thank you much for having me. And I can't wait to get back into your fantastic tap room.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks very much, Josh. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Cheers. Okay, guys. See you all next time.